Hi guys, welcome back. So as I said at the end of the last lesson, we're going to start tying these sections together now. And we're going to do that with special effects. And these special effects are going to be used as transition sounds. So it's going to help us get from one section to another. And if they're not there, you really notice it. But it's also one of those kinds of sounds that are in the background and it's not the focus of the track. And these sounds also help us create a sense of tension and release. You'll see what I mean once we start putting them in there. So the most common one used is the crash cymbal, which is brilliant at the start of a new section. So let's do that now. F for browser, go for crash 01. And we're just going to bring these in as audio. We don't need them in sampler tracks. They're literally just one-off hits, so they're never going to be changed either, so we'll just bring them in as audio. And so this crash cymbal, like I say, it's really good at the start of a section, but it could also be used with a lower volume, maybe halfway through a section, so a more subtle version, if you like. So let's bring this into the start of our chorus. What we're going to need to do is just reduce the volume quite a bit. You can also come up to the region and reduce the gain as well. You can do that as well. This is reducing the track, the whole track. And if you want to just reduce the clip gain, you come up here and do it there. Okay, so that's fine for now. We'll mix all these in a sec. And I'm going to copy it across. So it's in between the two choruses at the end of the song. And I might have that at the end as well, at the end of the song. Just extend that song a touch there. And we've got another crash in here. I think this is a slightly bigger one, crash 07. Yeah, that's pretty large. Just going to drag this in for the start of chorus 2.1, give it a bit more energy. Now you can even see just by looking at this, that is quite a bit louder. So what we need to do is go to the clip gain, so regions, crash 07. Gain, and we'll gain this right down, and you can see that it's coming down here as I do that. And this is just to stop using the same crash all the way through, because it does get very boring. We've got a different type of crash here now, one that's even bigger in energy. So we'll just put that in chorus 2.1. And then we've got this one in chorus 2.2. So they're different sounding crashes, which just sort of mixes it up a little bit. And also what we can do with crash 07, as it's quite a long sample, we can reverse it and use it as a build-up effect. So this is the release part of the effect. And if we reverse it and put it in front of this, then it will act as a tension builder. So I'm just going to click off because they were all highlighted at the time, so we don't want to reverse all of them. So just click on crash 07, option drag it over so it duplicates it. Put it there for now. Let's go over to the left, and with that particular copy of the crash 07.1, we can come over here to reverse it. Click the little reverse button. So now we've got our sample reversed. And we'll just butt this up against here. It's looking like it's just sort of overlapping, so let's just zoom in to see what's happening with that. So all we've got to do is just switch off the snap and bring this up. So maybe it's just overlapping. Let's have a listen, see if that's okay. Okay, we'll just highlight both those. We'll bring the gain down a bit more. Okay, so we're getting there. I think what we'll do is we'll copy this reverse over so it goes nicely up to verse 2. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. See how that transitions from the end of the chorus to verse 2. That just sounded really nice. So much better than having nothing there at all. I think we'll also have it at the end. Sounds good. These effects do need some reverb on them, which we'll do pretty soon. We're going to create a new effects channel with a longer reverb just a bit later on. So let's bring in some more things. HT1 FX Riser from House Tools 1 sample pack. For some reason I couldn't get that to preview, but I've dragged it into the project anyway, that's fine. We'll put it on a separate track so we can just have a bit more room to see what we're doing. Plus we can use different effects if we want to. So we've got all the cymbals on one. So this is a riser, so we'll put it on a separate track. So this kind of riser, if I just play it for you. Real tension builder. Obviously it's way too loud at the moment. We need to put this right in front of our important section. So maybe before the chorus, we need to zoom in to make sure we get this at the right point, which I think we have already. So as you can see, the main bulk of the sample is finishing at the start of the chorus. So let's have a listen to that. We may need to bring this down even more. So you can hear the tension builder. These sounds, as I said before, first of all, they need reverb on them, as I said, but they also want to be in the background. So not to take center stage, but you'll notice if they weren't there, you'd really notice it. Yeah, that's cool. So we'll have this one again repeated just before the other chorus. So you've got a combination here of the uplifter or the riser with the reversed cymbal. So they're blending together nicely. Just going to rename that riser. Crash cymbal, that's fine. So let's see what else we've got here. Let's choose an impact sound. They're really, really good. Again, at the start of maybe a breakdown section, they're really, really good at. So verse 2 is like a breakdown section where we reduce the energy. So we'll drag that into a new track as well so we can have more control on it. Obviously bring it way down. Sounds pretty good. So we've got a reverse cymbal going into a low subby impact sound, bringing the energy back down. Nice. And that would be really good at the end of the track as well, I think. We'll finish on that. Impact option, drag it over. So we've got a crash and an impact to finish. Yeah, that sounds great. And I think the last one is this lion roar, which obviously is playing off what she's singing. It's a call and response thing where she's talking about lions or the lion roar, and we put that sound in. So this needs to come in. I think she talks about this in the chorus. Now we haven't got the vocals in yet, of course, but I believe she sings about the lion around about here. Obviously we can adjust this effect once we've got the vocals in there. So we'll copy this one over for chorus 2. Again, it's roughly there, but we'll adjust that once the vocals are in. So that's cool. We just need to put some effects on these things now. So I want to add a new reverb effects channel, this time with a longer reverb, a longer decay. First one was around 2.5 seconds, I think, 2 seconds. So let's start with our crash cymbal. Click the crash cymbal track and we'll go to sends. We'll go to bus. This time we'll go to bus 2 and create a long reverb. So that's this one here, aux 4 with the bus 2 on it. So before we get confused, because we've got a couple of buses that's been created by Logic as well. So the first one we called main reverb. This one we're going to call long reverb. We need to go to the audio effects. Let's just have a look in the mixer, just double check that that's looking okay. Mixer's growing a bit, as you can see. So down here we've got main reverb and long reverb. Just going to make sure I have that orange. These are the two that we've created, FX channels that we've created, main reverb and long. So we need to just put in here a chroma verb. But I definitely want the decay up to quite a bit, maybe 5 seconds. Want the pre-delay up as well. Maybe the attack up a little bit, so there's a bit of a delay for the pre-delay to come back. All putting up a little bit. 100% wet, don't forget, for an FX channel. Again, just want the lows taken out really. Not a lot else. Okay, so let's start sending some effects to that and see what it sounds like. So let's solo the crash. Make sure the crash is selected, and we will send to bus 2 the appropriate amount. This is without. So start sending it. That's already added quite a nice bit of depth. This is without. Sounds really dry, horrible. So let's put it back in with the mix as well, with the reverb and the other instrument. Okay, so that's sounding okay for now. Let's add the same kind of reverb to the riser. So send bus 2 long reverb and increase the send amount. Have a check on the solo. Sounds pretty good to me. Let's go to our impact. We need a little bit on this as well. And you can see, incidentally, when it plays the reverb, you'll see this long verb get some signal on it. So you can make sure that it is actually getting there. There you go. I think we need a bit more though. Sounds pretty good. Just turn it down a little bit. And so just the line raw to go. I think we're going to put some delay on this as well. But let's start with reverb. Okay, that's way too loud, but nice reverb. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Maybe that's a bit too much because we're going to add delay to this as well. So, line raw, what should we do with this? Let's add some stereo delay. I think we'll try 1/8 notes this time. 1/8 and 1/8 dotted. Remember, they have to be different, otherwise you're not going to hear the stereo effect. Let's see what's cooking with this. Sounds pretty good. Let's just increase the mix a little bit, maybe the feedback up a little bit. And incidentally, I think I made a mistake on the pluck with the stereo delay. We'll go back to that in a second. But when you have a dotted version of the delay, you know, like for example 1/8 and 1/8 dotted, the dotted one, the delay actually goes on a bit longer because you're delaying the frequency that it repeats, so therefore the output mix should be a little bit less, if anything, on the right side. I think they got that the wrong way around before. So let's just reduce the right side a little bit. Let's have a listen on solo. Yeah, only a little bit though. It's not. All depends on the feedback and how many times it's repeating, that sort of thing. So we'll just check that. Just looking at that, I think that is just a touch too much. So we'll go down to 38 and 29 or thereabouts. So that was just a too much mix of the delay. If you want that to carry on, if you want the repeats to carry on, then you want to put the feedback up. Or if the number of repeats is too much, then put the feedback down and then adjust the mix accordingly as well. So there's one more little thing I want to do to this track, and that is to create a nice little effect right at the start. And what we're going to do is take the reversed symbol, copy it down to another track, put it onto bar 9. Just need to shorten this a little bit so we can fit this onto bar 9 here. So just take it off snap for a second, just so we can snap that. Because it normally snaps the front of the segment, you see, to the grid lines, not the rear. So we want the rear to be snapped to the bar. So we can either take it off snap like that and do it manually, or you can come to snap and choose snap regions to relative values. So for example, if the segment is not on the grid lines and you want this crash to be at exactly the same point, i.e. not on the grid lines, over here somewhere, then you would just come here and choose snap regions to relative value. If you have it on snap regions to absolute value, it's going to snap to the grid at the front of the segment. So if I turn snap on, you see it's going to snap the front of this segment to the grid. Just going to undo that so I can just show you this demonstration quickly. If I go to snap regions to relative value, now I can snap this crash relative to where it is, so it's in between the bar there, and I can now see it snapping in between the bar now rather than on the grid. So I just wanted to show you that little tip for you. But in this instance, I'm just going to turn off snap and manually line this up to the end of bar 9. I mean, it's going to be delayed so much it doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to put a lot of delay feedback on this, and you'll see why in a second. So let's add a delay. We're going to do something slightly different on this one. Let's have a look at maybe tape delay, mono. Yeah, we'll try and keep this one mono, just for something different. Let's go for a 16th note, so that's very, very quick delay. We're going to put the feedback up, which is over here, really, really high. Maybe something like 90%. Put the wet and dry. This is not an effects channel. This is on the channel itself, so we can now blend in our dry and wet here on the channel. Let's just see what this sounds like to start with. Now let's do some EQ as well. Take out the bottom end of this. Right, let's have a listen, see what's going on. See if my idea is going to work. So, okay, yeah, we're getting there. I think it needs to go on a lot longer, so 90% is still not enough. Go for 96. But so basically what I'm doing here is I'm having a delay. It goes underneath when she's singing, and it goes on for quite a while. So rather than just having a crash that reverses up and then crash, it's over in a couple of seconds, this is going to go on, you know, quite a bit longer than that. And it's just going to sit underneath where she's singing. It's going to sound quite nice, hopefully. It's just a bit loud at the moment. That's quite nice. May put some reverb on that as well. We'll see. Yeah, I think that would sound, it's still going now. I think that would sound pretty good once she's singing over the top of that. And this is just another way, I just wanted to show you a different way of adding atmosphere to the track using a very, very high feedback amount with a 16th note delay. Just show you what that's like on an 8th note, just so you can hear the difference. It's just not quite so nice in my opinion. I like the 16. And just one other thing to note here, I'm going to leave these filters open. I'm not going to filter out these delays, because what would happen is if you were to bring up the low or bring down the high, as the delays repeat and repeat and repeat, either the high or the lows would gradually disappear to nothing. But we want to keep this unfiltered and just let the natural length of the repeats be the cause of the sound fading out rather than the filters. Okay, so we'll have a quick listen through. We do need to have a break and come back either the next day or in a few hours' time just to check the volumes, but let's just have a quick listen through to these effects in case they're sort of jumping out or something like that, too loud or whatever. And once we've got the guitar and vocals in here, we can also readjust things if needed. I'm sure we will need to. Okay, the crash is a bit loud. Oh yeah, I was going to address that pluck, wasn't I? On the stereo delay. So the quarter dotted is on the right hand side, so really, my mistake, the left side should be a little bit more of a mix, because the right side will go on for longer and it'll be a little bit off balanced if these are on both left and right are the same. No massive deal or anything like that. It was getting really sort of finicky. That all sounds pretty good so far. Yeah, it's all sounding pretty good. Maybe that crash can go up a little bit. Yeah, we've got the volumes all in the right ballpark at the moment. So as I say, when we've got the vocals and guitar in, we can readjust if needed. Now, this is a long old lesson, but it's a really, really useful lesson. I'm just going to very quickly just tidy up colours and things like that, and we'll create a folder as well. So I'm just going to call that first delay. Just going to have all my effects green, I normally do. I'm going to highlight all the tracks and do green. And also going to put these in a folder so we can quickly just get some more space on the screen if we want to. So I'm going to highlight them all. Go to track, create track stack. And we want to make sure you use folder stack. We will be using this one a bit later, but we want folder stack. And it tells you what it is if you click details. So they've now all gone into a folder called sub. Now we also want to rename this effects. So basically it just gives you more room on the screen, so you can open and close the folder now with all the effects in it. And obviously you can do that with your plucks, pads, drums. In fact, we will do it with the drums. So highlight all, including the shaker. Track. Create track stack. Make sure it's on folder. It's called it sub 2, but we want to call it drums. In fact, I'm going to call these drums folder and effects folder. So I really do know in the mixer what these things are. So effects are there. create more space on the screen. Drums folder. Fantastic. So I hope that was a really good lesson for you guys. That's really brought the track to life with all those effects in there. In the next lesson, we'll start looking at automation and making things change. For example, the synth cutoff, making that sound grow over time. And again, we're adding more life and pizzazz into this track, rather than just having a boring track that goes all the way through. How boring. Cool, guys. Okay, I'll see you then. All the best. Bye-bye.